Hello, I'm Robert Kelly, and this is a Record All Monsters quick look at some lost kaiju films from outside Japan. First of all, we're trying something a little different today. We have a guest. Why don't you say hello?
Hi.
It's Courtney.
I'm not really a guest, I guess.
We're trying something a little bit different. I have written an essay for the quick look, as I normally do with a quick look. But I thought I would read it to Courtney, and we'll see how this kind of shakes out. And maybe quick looks will take this form in the future, and maybe they won't. But, here we go. In last week's... Feel free to interrupt at any point.
Okay.
By the way. In last week's full episode on Yongari, Monster from the Deep, I briefly mentioned that it was one of 3 Korean kaiju movies that were lost in one way or another. I thought now would be a good time to look at the other 2, which are unavailable in any form, as well as a lost kaiju movie from India that has come to my attention since I initially wrote the Yongari episode.
Yongari Glen Ross.
We don't have a lot of time, so let's get right to it.
Okay.
Released in December of 1962, Bulgasari was the sole directorial credit of Myung-jae Kim, who otherwise had a prolific career as a cinematographer. The movie told the story of a martial artist in the waning days of the Goryeo period, placing this movie in the late 14th century. He's murdered by traitors in his school, but wreaks his vengeance from beyond the grave when he is resurrected as Bulgasari, the iron-eating monster of Korean folklore. Bulgasari was widely panned upon its release, and according to the Korean film site Cine21.com, there was no doubt that historical dramas were the only spectacle. Bulgasari was immediately classified as a third-rate entertainment, instead of being awarded the title of First Monster. The effects apparently caused audiences to laugh at, and I quote, "the string hanging from the dragon's head, or the unsteady gait of the blind Bulgasari." A disclaimer placed before subsequent screenings urging the audience to abandon common sense probably didn't help matters much. All we have left of Bulgasari are some promotional materials. Posters, a still image of the monster with its hands above its head, a newspaper review. The footprint left behind by Bulgasari is so small that some even doubt it was ever made at all. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But I tend to believe the writers at Cine21.com. Also, since I can't find another place to insert this tidbit, Bulgasari is also the Korean word for starfish.
Ooh.
So there. Which, when I was using various translation apps to read these articles, about half the time it would translate Bulgasari as starfish. Oh, and Bulgasari, with the B, is the preferred spelling and pronunciation of South Korea, as it's a more modern translation of the old word. North Korea still uses the old word Pulgasari. They have a movie of the same name, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Not today. Moving right along, our next missing monster movie comes not from Korea, but from the West. That is, India. India's west of Korea. Look at a map. Take a geography course. Jeez. We have a tiny bit more info on 1966's GOGOLA thanks to the survival of 4 songs from its soundtrack.
It has some great jams.
Aaja Pyar Karen, Zara Ka Do Fezian. Here, Courtney's going to read the name. She's better at...
Let me see.
Aaja.
Aja Pyar Karen. Zaraka do Fizeon Se. Mohe la Deraja Makarya Re Nacho Nacho Gogola.
Which I can only assume is some kind of crazy version of Duck Duck Goose.
Sorry if I pronounced those awfully.
You did it better than I was gonna. We also have a list of shots the Central Board of Film Certification objected to upon the film's release, in addition to the usual array of posters and still images. According to an article by Rajesh Devraj, the script sent to the censors survived as well, and he gives us a summary of the movie based on it. According to Devraj, the movie begins with a musical number at a teen beach party, which is interrupted when our title monster rises from the ocean.
I already love it.
Though the teens are initially disbelieved, authorities eventually take the fight to GOGOLA, and they do the usual song and dance.
Also love.
Well, I was trying to make a joke.
No, I know.
This is a double joke.
I know.
They do the usual song and dance of the military versus a giant monster, but also many Indian films are musicals in genres that in the West we would not make as musicals.
And they're still fun.
So, usual song and dance. One of the beach girls' dad is a scientist who develops a magic bullet weapon, as is the tradition in giant monster movies. In a scene not dissimilar to the climax of 1954's Godzilla, the girl's two rival lovers dive into the ocean to deploy the weapon. I'm skipping over some things. On to the next movie. Finally, we come to another tricky one. Like Young Gary, Space Monster... See, I have to do less editing, too, when I have you here. Like Young Gary, Space Monster WANGMAGWI both is and isn't lost.
Mogwai.
WANGMAGWI. We know where it is, the movie, and it is even screened from time to time in South Korea, even as recently as 2019.
Nice.
However, the film's owners won't allow it to be released widely or on home video. The story is, according to most sources I've encountered, similar to King Kong, though it doesn't sound much like it to me. Space aliens intent on taking over the Earth send their giant monster WANGMAGWI, which means King Devil if Google Translate is to be believed. And during his attack on Seoul, he becomes infatuated with an airman's bride on the way to her wedding. We have the usual array of stills and posters associated with lost movies of this time, but I'm very sad that the only reason we don't have this one is because it's being withheld from us. Some footage has been leaked online, and it's widely assumed that this is from somebody's home recording when it was aired on TV in the 80s. There are links to most of the available materials for all three films in the description. I hope you learned something. I know I did. Did you learn anything, Courtney?
Yes.
Of these three, which one do you most wish you could see?
Do you even have to ask?
It's WANGMAGWI.
GOGOLA.
I know. For me, it's WANGMAGWI. Just the way the monster looks like fun. And I think I have what I want from GOGOLA in the soundtrack, which we'll play a bit of on our way out today. Instead of the usual Record All Monsters theme. We are up for a Rondo.
Yay.
There's a link in the description about how you can vote for us there. We're also running a poll on Twitter. Courtney and I have been talking about putting some audio commentaries up for $1 on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
And so the poll is asking, are you interested in this? If you are interested in this, should we keep it strictly to kaiju movies? Or would we be able to get into some of our other favorite movies and things outside the genre, things in other weird genres?
We like a lot of movies.
We do. And we just think it'd be fun with this little community we've shared. We've gotten. We didn't create you all. You were always there.
Yeah.
But we just want to see what you would be interested in for these commentaries. And once we have some information, we will let you know what we're going to do about it.
Yeah.
So, with that... Oh, I have a guest spot coming up on a show called Tomahawk and Stew Make a Podcast. It's primarily on YouTube, but there is an audio version. We do some comedy improv. And I think I'm pretty funny. But I might not be. Anyway,
Robert, don't
What?
be so hard on yourself.
But I want to.
No.
Okay. Well, that's all we've got for you today. Next week, we'll be back with another full episode with Courtney as our guest, talking about Minya's auspicious debut in Son of Godzilla.
Oh, man.
A movie I caused some waves with on Monster Kid Radio when I said I preferred it to Son of Kong. Which is a good movie, too. Son of Godzilla has a special place in my heart. And you'll find out why next week on Record All Monsters. But between now and then, why don't you remember that monsters are your friends? Take us out, GOGOLA.
नच 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 गोगुला दिल वाला झुमगा गोगुला नच 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 गोगुला दिल वाला झुमगा गोगुला गोगुला नच 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 गोगुला दिल वाला झुमगा गोगुला नच 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 गोगुला दिल वाला झुमगा गोगुला नच 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 नच